I can't wait until all this extra like is gone.
Or you're just gonna fill it with acrylic
on those shelves, but not right there.
That's what you say now.
That's touche. Don't speak it into existence.
And welcome back to the Riley Black Project. Crystal and John.
Hey.
What's up? What you got? What's on that piece of paper there?
I finally got the list.
Oh, the list.
I've only forgotten it.
Every single time. Even this time. She did forget.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
I did forget.
She had to go print it.
And then here it is.
All right.
Finally. So
who is it?
We got Brandy, Victor, Katie, Melissa, Camille, Lisa, David, that's a little hint, Alexander, Stephanie, Barbie, Madison, Danny, Emily, Amanda, Mark, Kathy, Ryan, and Will.
Thank you all for subscribing to the Patreon. And if you haven't subscribed to the Patreon, just go to patreon.com.
Mm-hmm. Or you could upgrade and get yourself some free files. Yep. Or you could upgrade and get yourself the show off level where you literally are just showing off and giving us some extra dollars.
Right. Or you can sign up for the first time and show off. Mm-hmm. Just come in hot.
Right.
And just show off.
We have to support two of us now.
Exactly. Exactly. And also subscribe to YouTube.
Yeah.
Well, watch YouTube.
Watch.
Subscribe. You know what?
Fine.
Subscribe. Tell a friend, everything, but also watch. Just watch and watch. Speaking of watching, our current guest was telling me he's up to date. He's like your kids grew so fast.
Right. I know it's so funny that like new people who join us, they're like, oh, you just had Jackson or something. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, that was a rough time.
Right.
Like I just think back to where that was, but then they're like super behind because Jackson's two.
Right. Yeah. It's funny. Yeah. So with that, our guest today is David Brown with Creative Cut Supplies.
You got it.
What's going on?
Hey, how's it going?
All right. No cuts.
Yeah.
Creative Supplies.
Creative Cut
Supplies. Yeah. Yep. Yep. The S is on supply, not cut.
Thanks for being a patron.
Yes.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. So how did you find us? Was it just in one of the groups or?
Yeah, I don't remember. It might have been Alicia that posted it. I that sticks in my mind. But it was about a year ago, I think. Maybe not. I don't know. Time flies.
Yeah, that's actually when we had her on in July of last year, just before the last studio was finished.
Okay. That was probably it. Because I have been in the Laser Lounge group since it started. Mm-hmm. So I kind of followed when people went over to that group, and that's probably the one I'm the most involved in. So that'd probably be her post when she was interviewed. So
nice.
Yeah, I didn't know it because I had listened to why am I forgetting his name now? The guy at Alex.
Laser.
I listened to his, and then I'd gone through it, and I was like, I need something else. And I think right around that time, you guys popped. Well, I mean, you've already been around, but up in my world, so.
Nice. Yeah. So how the heck did you get into the laser world? What were you doing before that?
So we bought our first laser in August, I think, of 2020. But before that, let's see. So I've done woodworking for a while. I built cabinets and furniture for a bit. Before that, I have also a degree in statistics and computer science, and I did a little bit of marketing analytics before that.
Statistics is rough.
So it kind of, I went from that to, I worked for a builder doing the high-end homes. I did like his cabinets and furniture and trim. It was really cool stuff. The guys I worked with were, 50, 60, and they, had so much knowledge. It was just awesome to work for them. But yes, my wife and I always liked making things, and we always kind of wanted to do something. And kind of when COVID hit, and COVID hadn't quite hit.
Most of obviously, if you've listened, that's when most of them have started or really took off. Yeah,
no, it's crazy. January of 2020 is when we had two businesses that we kind of started.
Yeah.
Or reserved Etsy shop, the what do you call it? Domain names, socials, that kind of thing. and I'd had a side like remodeling business at the time too. But so we started, an Etsy shop right before COVID. And then that was actually we still do, but we have like a wood toy business, that kind of thing. That was kind of our first venture, and that did really well on Etsy. So we got our laser in August, so we could do personalization on like our rattles and whatnot. We got an Ortour diode. And then after I figured that out, it was like a week that we had it, and I'm like, this is not going to do what we want it to do.
You outgrew it in a week.
Yeah, we're like, I mean, it will do what I want to do, but it's not going to do it in the time I want it to do it.
Right.
And I'd always seen the glow forges in one of my woodworking groups. So I didn't know anything else about lasers at the time. I mean, I should have, searched more, but I mean, I didn't do that till
me too.
Yeah. So we got a glow forge. I think September, like literally we ordered it a week later. I mean, it came in like less than a week, I think. So it was really quick. And we had been doing like woodworking projects before that kind of paid for the laser. So that's why we got into it. But we joined the Glowforge World group and a couple other groups, but we got ornaments up in I don't know, November 5. We posted them on Etsy, and then we ended up selling, I think, 3,500 or 4,500 of the 2020 ornaments that year.
Wow.
And we were just like, there's something to this. Like,
right.
Why? Well, in that time too, we also bought like another used Glowforge and then an Ohm Tech, so we could keep up with the orders.
Right.
So we had in 3 months, we had 3 lasers.
That's crazy.
But yeah, that's kind of how we started. Now ornaments is our main thing. The toys business kind of is still there, but we don't do much with it. There's a lot more regulations
into it. Yeah.
You got to get testing. It's a lot of annoying things.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, we should have you back on for an episode specifically about like toys and kids items, because it's one of the, I mean, it happened to me. I didn't know that in the beginning either, but it's one of the things that I don't feel like the laser world talks about enough.
Yeah.
They'll post those wood puzzles.
Right.
And they're like, oh, how much should I charge for these? Or what safe paints could I use? And it's like, it's great that you're thinking like that, but at the same time, it's so much more in depth than just the safe paints. So definitely I want to have you on again to talk about that, because there's a lot to go into it. You got to protect yourself, especially because, when it comes down to it, the reason for all those regulations is because you don't want a child to get hurt. Yeah. So,
Well, and that's part of like our Etsy journey is with, I don't know if you probably know about when Etsy kind of took the beaded stuff off.
Oh, right.
That a lot of our rattle, like we followed the regulations, we had the testing, we worked with somebody, but our best sellers were like the rattles, like you got the ball ends have to like not fit through a certain size fixture. You have to do things a certain way, yada yada. But those were our best sellers at that time on that shop. Our other shop was very seasonal because it's ornaments. But that's when they, when the kid, unfortunately, it was really sad when the kid died from something from Lithuania that, nothing about it.
Etsy shop, right?
What was that?
It was an Etsy shop, right?
Yes. And then and there was a loophole where they got around like suing Etsy, and then Etsy just kind of had a, a scorched earth policy rather than a, I get it. There's you just got to pivot. It was not fun at the time, but
Welcome to the revolution in laser engraving. Introducing Lens Digital, the creators of the game-changing Pyburn rotary attachment. With the Pyburn 4.0, you can turn ordinary cups, tumblers, glasses, and more into extraordinary masterpieces.
Looking to engrave niche items or want the functionality of a Chuck rotary? Look no further than the Pyburn Grip, Lens Digital's Chuck-style rotary. With a range of different sized jaws, you can easily engrave a wide variety of items. All Lens Digital products are compatible with most CO2 and Galvo lasers and were designed specifically for the laser industry. All that paired with the best-in-class customer support, Lens Digital is your one-stop shop for all of your rotary needs.
Transform your laser engraving game with Lens Digital, where makers succeed. Unleash your creativity today.
And don't forget, we are proud Lens Digital affiliates as well. If you're shopping, code Riley Black will take $50 off any order of $600 or more.
Attention all laser owners and crafters. Are you tired of spending hours cutting, painting, and assembling laser products? Look no further than Crazy Laser Dad Laser Ready Blanks.
Their high-quality blanks are expertly sourced, tested, and ready to use with your lasers. Say goodbye to the hassle and frustration of time-consuming projects and hello to more time creating and selling.
Plus, with their wide selection of items, you'll surely find the perfect blank for all your customers.
So, what are you waiting for? Visit crazylaserdad.com today and take your laser crafting to the next level with their laser-ready blanks.
So what was your wife doing before?
So she was a PTA, so physical therapy assistant.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Nice.
so we both were full time for a bit. We transferred her to full time 2 years ago, and then
Okay.
I'm full time as of a year now.
Okay, nice.
So, but we kind of tried to. I mean, we worked our way to. I mean, we have different lasers now. You know, we
Right.
obviously couldn't handle the volume we're doing now with the glow forges.
Right, 2 Glow Forges and Home Tech, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it was all stair step. I mean, it took, what is it, 2023 now? So,
Right.
I mean, 3 or 4 years now to get to this point. But
Yeah.
and a lot has changed and a lot, you know, pivoting along the way. But
Right.
I mean, it's awesome to be home, like with
Yeah.
my, you know, daughter now and my wife.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's still, like, we're still working on figuring out how that works. And
Right. Well, and as soon as you figure it out, then
Yeah.
the kid levels up. And then there's
Yeah.
a new challenge that you got to figure out. And just like you said, pivoting, it's literally constant pivoting. And you get like settled, and then you're like, oh, okay, here's a new challenge we got to tackle. You know, how are we going to do this one? You know,
Yeah.
our struggle has been, since we did move, it's been amazing. But, you know, with the kids, JR, thankfully, after a couple weeks got into summer camp. And so we at least haven't had both kids. And, you know, JR he just turned 6 literally today. But he wasn't the hard one. You know, we didn't really have to keep him out of things or away from things or anything like that. But the thing we really wanted to keep him away from was the TV, and his iPad. We didn't want him on that constantly because we couldn't spend the time to entertain him, to take him outside, to take him somewhere, whatever, because we had to work. And so, you know, just having the one, which has been decent, but then like we just have like the most difficult one. And so August 14th
can't come quick
is
enough.
when they're both either in school or daycare. And so that's like the day that like we really feel like we can like for real go to work.
Right.
You know, we're limping along, we're making do as best we
Feels
can.
like we're all on summer break right now.
We really are. I mean, we fulfill orders, but like there's a lot of like, I'm gonna go fulfill orders. You know, you watch Jackson, like, or he's on nap, and then we both like tackle it, or again at bedtime, which is like now that we're recording. And then I mean, again, thank you for being my super duper last minute guest, because I remember it was like Monday or Tuesday night, and I was like, shit, we gotta record. Like and not only record, but then edit and post and get it all up. And it's just, you know, it's hard because we'd love to record during the day on, you know, Fridays or whatever, and then have a whole week. But, you know, it's just like every day has been, we don't know what we're gonna do today. And then, you know, we've had to deal with probate court and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's just we're doing a whole lot of pivoting and trying to squeak by until August, and then we're really gonna, you know, hit it hard then, hopefully.
It's definitely I mean, what I've tried to do is like look back like a chunks of time and be like, okay, this is the progress I've made, you know, rather than like, what have I gotten done this week kind of thing.
Yeah, instead of what haven't I finished that I wanted to. Right.
But no, I totally get that.
And your baby's home all day, right?
Yeah.
Which again is great because like, I mean, we had that time with we didn't have that with JR because I was in the office. I was actually in an office, but we did from 1 year to 2 years when we first moved to Florida. And then with Jackson, we didn't put him in daycare until 1.
Right.
And that was kind of against our will. I wanted to put him in like 8 months. And I mean, much like here, there was all the good ones
Right.
had a wait list. And
Well,
it's like,
then,
well, I don't
and
want
then also
to.
it was coming out of COVID, and so a lot of them shut down. And
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was tough.
So just got to make do with what you got.
Yeah.
But it's amazing and difficult. But like I
Right.
choose that difficult, I think, like every day,
Mhm.
even, you know, on the really tough days, because it's like it's your difficult, not
Right.
someone else's. I don't know. It feels like there's more control and less control at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how with the ornaments, so since that's is that your main focus besides the materials right now, or?
Yeah, so the material. So we sell the materials because we buy a lot of plywood anyways for our ornaments, and
Was that kind of like a byproduct of?
yeah,
So, okay.
yeah. Like I quit my job last year on May 20, and I told my boss, like, and he knew, like, it was
Right.
coming when I came into work like every day, like really
Exhausted, yeah.
tired, and I mean, like, we were up like in the holidays, 2 to 3, every single night.
Right.
But yeah, so he knew like it was coming. I told him in January at like our yearly review, like, this is what's up. Like,
Right.
this is how our business has grown, and
Mhm.
I mean, he was super cool. Like, he, said there's always a door like here if you want it. So I gave him like a 4 or 5 months,
Right.
notice. So, I mean, I
Yeah.
gave him plenty of time to plan, but
Right.
but yeah, we started the plywood, I think, in April of last year, at least selling it online. We sold to people locally,
Mhm.
but on Etsy, and did that so I could kind of, because ornaments are very seasonal.
Right.
Well, but we do a lot of wholesale too. A lot of business. We're in 100+ shops across the country, so we do a lot of.
We start early too, but at the same time, like
It
most of the
fluctuates.
sales are going to be like heavy later in the year.
Well, so the weird thing about the wholesale world is honestly a lot of sales happen in January.
Okay.
It's really, but I mean, a lot of them are written in January, I should say.
Right.
We get orders every month,
Mhm.
but the J months other than January are pretty slow, like June
Mhm.
and July. And then it fluctuates. But the other thing with wholesale is most of my customers are net 30. So, I could have a really, a good month of sending out product, and then, I don't get paid for another month.
Right.
So
Right.
the main thing we were worried about was, cash flow of, I gotta, I know at the end of the year, especially with, I mean, online is our biggest thing by far, and each year it like doubles.
Right.
And we try and build out the rest of our year even more, but it's just like the nature of the beast with, holidays. It's just
Right.
how that works. So we try and like build our year out better, but so that the cash flow is definitely the thing that you got to worry about with, and that's why we started selling plywood, just to have that turnover.
Right.
And so it's just kind of the byproduct of that, but it's not our main focus.
Mhm.
I mean, we do obviously focus on it, but it's not meant to grow past, what I normally stock for my
Right.
own product. But I mean, everything we do supply, it's like stuff we work with, other than like Baltic birch, because everybody supplies that. But like the
Right.
Maple and walnuts, like we work with a mill and they make it for us. So
Nice.
like specialized for like our ornaments. I mean, it's not like other people can't work with the mill either.
Right. Yeah.
But and there's different purposes for different materials. So we use Veneer Core because we're speed and production, but there's different purposes for Veneer Core or MDF Core, and it just depends on what people are looking for. But
hey guys, thanks for watching and listening. If you'd like to support us monetarily now or in the future, here are a few ways.
You can join us on Patreon and reach out to us to run ads on the podcast.
For only $20, by the way.
Only $20.
You could also buy a file from my Etsy shop, some keychain accessories from my website, the course to learn some file designs, or explore one of my partnerships with either Eon or Pyburn.
Yeah, and you can find all those links on our Facebook group. That's the Riley Black Project.
Yep. To support us for $0 a month, you can share the podcast with your laser friends, subscribe to our YouTube channel, interact with our content, share, like, comments. What else?
And subscribe and leave a review on our Apple podcast.
Mhm.
And then follow us on social media. That's Facebook and Instagram, The
We
Riley Black
appreciate-
Project.
Yes, we appreciate your support so much. We have big dreams of John joining
Yes.
us full time, and anything that you can do monetarily or for free to help us get there, we
Yes.
appreciate it so much.
Speaking of all things laser, check out Houston Acrylic at houstonacrylic.com for reliable laser tested and laser approved materials.
Made for makers by makers, Houston Acrylic features over 450 styles of acrylic sheets. With over 50 new arrivals being released this month, Houston Acrylic is committed to bringing new and innovative styles to the laser community. My personal favorite is the matte, anything matte, and I feel it's perfect for everything.
Don't forget to save 10% by using our exclusive coupon code TRBP10 at checkout. Get inspired today and visit houstonacrylic.com.
Do it. What's the difference between Veneer Core and MDF Core?
So MDF is like, how do I, like the fibers or whatever
Right.
glued together. Well, medium density fiberboard. So it's
Right.
all those fibers glued together. So it's more of a consistent core. Like a lot of people, when they buy it for lasering, they like it because it tends to be consistent. Like no matter what speed you have to cut it
Right.
at, it's going to be consistently cutting at that speed. You're not
Right.
going to have any gaps or voids.
Mhm.
Now there are a ton of different types of MDFs. I mean, I've got
Right.
like a whole drawer over here with like 9 to 13 like different
Wow.
MDF types, and it's just like they all cut differently, and they all
Mhm.
so there's different types, and some take paint better, some soak it in, and some
Right.
leave a burn on the side, some don't. It really depends what you're looking for.
Yeah.
But veneer core, and it depends on. So there's a lot of different types of veneer core too.
Mhm.
And it really depends on the supplier as well. But so the reason we like using veneer core is because of the speed, and it cuts very cleanly.
Mhm.
The veneer core we use tends to be pretty good about not having very many voids or
Mhm.
knots or anything on the core. I know it can be issues with others. I'm not saying we never
Right.
have,
Yeah.
but I cut thirds of sheets on my big laser, and it's like a full sheet.
Mhm.
And for the most part, I don't really have issues. Once in a while I'll have something, but for me, I can cut twice as fast on veneer core than I can on MDF. So
Wow. Yeah.
if I have to throw a couple ornaments out on
Right.
1,000,
It's worth it
ornaments,
overall. Yeah.
yeah, I've done twice as many in the same time. But I think it really, like, I'm not one to say like, you have to buy this material, that. I think it really depends on what you do, like what kind
Yeah.
of work, because there's just a lot of different,
Right.
types of work and scope of project. So
Yeah.
but that's why we use veneer core, but
Right.
it really depends on what people want to do.
So initially with your ornaments, were you just selling like single ornaments on Etsy, or were you doing wholesale? And then how did you do the switch? Do you still do the single ornaments, or are you all
Yeah.
wholesale now?
So we do the single ornaments. We still get orders from on Etsy throughout the year.
Mhm.
I'm building out a website for that, and then we'll probably go onto other marketplaces like Amazon. We're approved for Amazon Handmade. It's a lot of logistical things to get on all these
Right.
platforms, and the
Yeah.
way to get found is your SEO. And so, like Etsy, we do well because at least our products that do well on Etsy, we've nailed the SEO. I mean, there's some
Right.
that I thought would do well, but we have to tweak.
Right.
But it's really your SEO, your pictures, and your price. If those all
Right.
three meld together well, you've got a good listing.
Yeah.
But so that's how we've done well on Etsy. But that's how we started. We got into the wholesale world because of someone we knew introduced us into that, and it blew my mind that this was a thing. That
Yeah.
there's companies out there that their sole like business model is selling, less now because of the inception of the online world and all
Right.
the marketplaces. So a lot of these companies do double dip and
Right.
sell retail and wholesale, but it just amazed me when we first started that there was a market out there. So that was probably, I don't know, 2.5 years ago. So we've kind of done both since then, but I think we did 9,000 ornaments before the holidays last year of wholesale, and then there's probably 7,000 ornaments we did in the holidays on
That's
retail.
insane.
So
That's crazy.
but wholesale, you're priced, a lot less than, you're like
Right.
half of the cost, maybe give or take, depending.
Mhm.
That's kind of the benchmark, but you're selling in quantity, so it's kind of rinse and repeat.
So what's your minimum quantity typically for wholesale?
So if it's something we normally stock, we have pretty low minimums, but I mean, a lot of my stuff, I stock at least little quantities of it. So it's 6 or 12. But if we're doing anything custom, then there's a design fee and they have to order at least 24, which is still a very low minimum for a lot of companies. But it's, we're in the US, and, a lot of these bigger companies are not all of them, but a lot of them import.
Overseas,
you can do custom, but it's, you're talking a lot bigger quantities.
Right.
So we fill in the little niche, like small to mid-sized shop market.
Right.
We don't really, our prices are a little higher than like, the big companies, but it works well for us because we fill in that niche and we don't have to.
It's kind of like, I remember when I went to go do my first like t-shirt order, when I was ordering them and I wasn't making them anymore, and the like minimum quantity was like 25. And I'm like, I don't need 25. I need like 5 or 10. You know what I mean? Like I like 6 or 12 honestly would have been perfect initially. And I would have been fine if it was like a little bit more expensive, because, I was brand new to like trying to get like merch that I didn't hand make myself. And, 25 t-shirts at, sometimes anywhere from, I think it was probably like, depending on how many colors and front and back and all that, it's like starts at $10 each. So it's like, that's several $100s that I don't have, so yeah, I think that's a great spot to be in, to like find that little niche where not a lot of people offer those little minimums, but then it gives them entry into wholesale as well. And then they can order more, potentially more of a discount, if they get to that point, or if they like it or whatever. Yeah, I know it works pretty well for us. And the one thing I've noticed is, since we're definitely a newer company, and in the wholesale world, a lot of the brick and mortar shops, and this is not everybody, but a lot of them are, the generation ahead of me or even older, and that own a lot of these shops. So they, I'm a new shop to them. So they, they don't know, like, it's one thing to see a picture in my catalog and be like, okay, they don't necessarily understand, what, for anybody seeing the picture in the catalog, once they get that product in their hands, they don't understand like physically what it's going to look like. Like like different layerings or different types of wood or that kind of thing. Like that's probably the number one thing I've noticed is when product gets into some of these, potential clients' hands, like, wow, this is, not just by even sanding the product or things like that. There's a lot of, shops out there that, and if you don't sand out there, sorry, but you should sand. People appreciate it. Are important. So I can't tell you how many times I've had it where a potential customer will be like, wow, like they compare it to what they have already, and it's like just a sanded, it's a different ornament but sanded, and they're like, wow, like this is that much nicer. Flashback on the back of your ornaments? What? Do you have flashback on the back of your ornaments? No. That's another one that I'm like, I understand it's the back, but can we? No, it's, I will say, like, even though it takes a little more, well, and that's part of the streamline, like a knife bed, we just started using that like exclusively for a lot of our stuff. And it makes a world of, we used to run everything through the drum sander somewhere over here. But that's not fun when you're doing a ton, but like just getting, it
if you take the time to figure out your efficiencies, it'll
Mhm.
pay you like dividends in the
Your
future.
settings, your process, your production. Yeah,
Yeah. And
for sure.
it makes it so you can compete with,
Right.
you
Well,
know,
and I
the
mean,
prices.
even just this is one of our next subjects. I won't go too far into it yet, but like setting up our workshop and
Yeah.
my inventory
Yep.
in ways that make sense. And like they, all my wristlets used to be in bins that he'd have to like pull down and like grab it out of and put it back. And now
Right.
we put them in bins that he just reaches his hand in and back
Yeah.
out. And you
Yeah.
don't think it makes that much of a difference, especially because we're not like super high volume or anything right now, because I'm like,
Well, sometimes
I'm literally not even like posting about it right now.
it
So
depends on the order.
yeah, right, true. But yeah, when you get like an order for like 100 wristlets or
Right.
25 wristlets or something, and they're all in like 16 different bins that used to be
Right.
on like a shelf, it was like, okay, this is not efficient. It was as
Yeah.
efficient as it could be for our current setup and space. And then when we got in here, I was like, we have to take this opportunity to do something different. And it makes makes a huge difference. And it took him, 15 minutes to pull that order, and now it maybe took him 5 or whatever. And you add that up over time, and
No,
yes,
it's
quality, but you just have to figure out how to, again, you get your
Scale
systems
it for
together.
yourself.
Yeah. No, that's I think as a small business owner is like the thing to have you ever read the book or listened to the book like The E-Myth by I forgot who it's by, but I've had that's of all the small business owners I've talked to, that's the number one recommended book I've heard of. But it's essentially, kind of systemizing your business, because as your business grows, if it's a mess when you are,
it's
growing,
only going to
it's going to be a bigger mess.
Right.
Yep.
But if you start out, or you can, grow and then fix it,
tweak
and,
it. Yeah.
yeah. But if you can get and we're nowhere near where I'd want to be yet, but we're a lot better than we used to be. But if you can get your business kind of streamlined, then, you can hire on help and, have that organized and kind of work from there. And, if your business is kind of streamlined and working well, smaller, it's easier to scale and you'll have less issues.
Right.
So,
so do you for your orders, do you wait to, you said you keep a small stock of like each maybe style on hand, or do you, like, besides that, do you wait until you get the order to fulfill it, retail or wholesale? Like, so I know a lot of people who do like holiday, they start in like at the latest July. People joke that like if you're selling for the holidays, if you start in July, you're starting late. A lot of them, like, they never really stop. They start in January for Christmas that year. Like, so how does that work for you?
Yeah. So, so on our online, I kind of know what currently of our listings sell well.
The best, yeah.
I don't have, so most of our product, is wholesale. I don't have it online. It's a lot of work to get listings up.
Right.
That's one of the things I'm working to streamline, but working off Excel docs and pushing it to marketplaces. But so most of my stuff is not even online, just because it's so
it takes forever.
Due diligence to do your SEO, because if you want a listing to do well, you got to do research on it. And
you don't really want to do it half-assed either, because you get it up there and then your SEO is bad. No one's gonna find it anyway. So then it's like
exactly. Yeah, and with photos too, and everything is just. I think with apps like Photo Room, you can batch things, and we're trying to work with that. Or there's got to be some AI coming out that can do SEO. I'm just if anybody knows, like, let me know, because if that was a thing, then
for real,
that would be really nice. Sorry, I forgot what the question was.
Well, just like do you do any like prep, or do you wait until the order comes in to then fulfill that order? So.
Yeah, but kind of both. For wholesale, it's. We do a lot of custom for wholesale as well. So it's obviously we don't really stock those.
Right. Obviously, yeah.
but for a lot of my stuff that I sell, both Etsy and wholesale and online, I will keep some stock or make a little more. We have
So
a lot of
do an order, like add a couple more on that sheet if there's room, or that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of our stuff is evergreen in the sense of it sells every year, not necessarily throughout the year, same consistency, but like unless it's something dated, I don't really care if I've got some extra. And I've got a whole wall of bins in our, most of our assembly and stuff is inside in the office, but I got a whole wall of like laser cut bins that we stock, our different types and whatnot. But
nice.
I mean, at this point, the ones I kind of print extra of, or we'll do like a full sheet of, are ones that I've seen historically over the past year or two sell both. Or at least we're very regional for wholesale as well. We do a ton in Ohio. Like I live in Michigan. I sell in 2 shops, I think, in Michigan. And I sell in probably 50 to 80 shops in Ohio. And I don't know why, I can't get into my own state. But, but I know there's a lot of Ohio ornaments that I sell in a variety of shops. So I stock those a lot, but it's kind of going off and on Etsy, it's, it's really like 20% of your listings sell 80% of the time. So, or 80% of your sales or whatever that thing is. So I stock those, I printed 1,000 of one of them so far to stock up, but I mean, I don't, other than that, we do a lot of made to order. Wholesale is usually 1 to 2 weeks. We turn them around.
Okay.
Unless they have a set date for ship date, then that's when we ship it. But it's kind of a little bit of both.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was talking to you a little bit about your new workshop, because I saw a TikTok that your wife had posted. So tell us about that. You briefly told me, through Messenger when we were talking about setting up the show, how you bought this house because of the workshop area, right?
Yeah. So part of quitting my job last year was I did not want a commercial lease, because then I would have to. I think we could have definitely paid for it, but the idea was not to be working until 3 a.m. because we wanted to start a family, and so we my quit date for my job all depended on when we could close on a house.
I know that feeling.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. So we're looking for a house, and then because a house with a pole barn, so we can move our shop out of our garage.
Right.
For multiple reasons. Our insurance before, we obviously weren't expecting to be, business like out of the garage at that point, but we wanted to kind of separate it and make sure with business, like this is insured, like this barn is, it's not that big. It's probably 8 feet bigger than a normal garage, but having a dedicated space separate from the garage.
That's a lot of space, though.
I'm not complaining. It's so much better than what we had, and I'm really thankful that it happened. And it was perfect timing, honestly, how it all worked out. But yeah, so we actually, a week before we put an offer on this house, we found another place that was really cool. It was kind of like and I'm kind of glad we didn't get it, because it would have probably been a lot of work. But there was this house. This is kind of a little aside, but it was like kind of like a hobbit house, but it was like an earth built under.
Wow!
Oh, cool!
It was really cool. It was like one wall that with windows, and then it was like built into a hill, so it was like naturally cooled and heated well, and it had like a 60 by 60 barn too. That was also the other nice thing, but that one was out of our market anyways. But then we put an offer on this one and got it, but so yeah, it was the reason we moved. It wasn't because we necessarily didn't like our other house. It was because we wanted me to be able to quit and not have to pay for a mortgage, or a lease, because that'd be like 2 mortgages at that point.
Right.
Especially as a new business, then everything would be going towards paying the bills and having that to pay for, and then
Right,
there's any
exactly.
growth or anything, just be struggling the whole time. So,
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, I I have one high school kid that's worked for me for 2 years, so he helped a
Nice.
lot with putting everything together here. And I
Yeah.
hired another kid too last year. Well, he was a college kid.
Hmm.
So this was an empty barn, and we insulated, sheeted it, did everything electrical. So it's kind of become its own thing. But
Right.
no,
Well, I mean, she said on the TikTok that it's taken about a year, but that like you guys kind of finally feel like it's really like coming
Yeah.
together, and that made me feel really good because like I wanted this done in like 2 weeks,
Right.
and
Yeah.
here we are like a couple months later almost, and it's like I wish it was just like
A
done
little
already.
further
I mean,
along,
like
yeah.
I even like as I was going over there to print this the current Patreon list, I was like kind of like tripping over this box and tripping over that, and I'm like, I can't wait until all this extra like shit is
Yeah.
gone.
So you're
It's
just gonna fill it with acrylic.
it's on those shelves, but not right there.
That's what you say now.
That's touche. Don't speak it into existence. But so it's just like we're close, and we're closer
Yeah.
than we were, and it's
Right.
still great, and we still see how well the systems are going to work when we get there. But then like I remember the other day, John was like setting up his area, and he had like a couple boxes of his stuff that he didn't know like what to do with or where to put them, and he put them like right in front of my rolling rack that's supposed to that I move out of the way as I need to get to the rack behind it. And I'm like, you put your shit in my rolling rack way. Now I can't get to my like shipping supplies.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just little by little trying to get set up so that you can again have those systems
And get our wall back.
Yes.
Yeah.
This boring white wall that we got behind us.
Yeah. No, I mean it's a it's a process of
Right.
and
then you got to work during the whole work parents live.
I say yeah, you guys you got 2 kids too running around, so it's
Right.
a lot of like it's good, but it's it takes away from you only have attention you can put in one place at a time effectively.
Well, and I mean certain things like right now, that reminds me, I need to contact them again. We're ordering a panel for the top of the garage that has windows, because that's how we decided that we're going to vent. And I also want windows because I'm, my old office was a bedroom. And so, I had a small window, but I at least had a window. And like being in here, like you can't tell if it's 7 a.m. or 2 a.m. or 10 p.m. You can't tell if it's raining unless it's like hitting something outside, so like he said, I call it a dungeon, and I'm like, I need some light or, natural light or something. So we're going to order, a panel for the top of the garage that has windows, but that's like 4 to 8 weeks before that gets here. So, it's just like every, each step, it's like, oh, we have to wait for this, or, if it's not like waiting for the production time, it's waiting for like, okay, do we have the money to do that upgrade now, or, all of those things. So, doing the best with what you got in the meantime. And, obviously because I don't have that venting system right now, I haven't really been using my laser much, because now we have it, we have it climate controlled. Well, if I use it during the day, it's been literally blazing balls heat. And so then it's like, okay, well now I should probably turn that off so that I'm not like wasting it.
Yeah, I'm freezing. It works really well.
Well, I know it says 76.
Yeah, but I'm
the problem is it's right on you, and it needs to be the other way. But this is my good side. But where was I going with that? Oh, and then at night would be better, you think, with like temperatures and stuff, and it's not a big deal for me to turn it off or down. Then like the mosquitoes this year are like insane. And so like I have to I can't move. I have to be like in front of a fan so they can't land on me so that I don't get bit a million times, because they like me. Did you know? I found out that your blood type has a lot to do with if mosquitoes really like you or not. And they like type O. And that's me. And they like me a whole lot. Yeah.
What about ankles? What do they say about ankles? 'Cause that's what they get.
Only like your ankles.
They only like my ankles.
I don't know. Maybe
tear 'em
you got some sweet ankles.
I get maybe I keep some like type O in my ankles.
Only in your ankles.
I guess.
It just circulates.
Oh, that's where they bite me all the time. It's always around my ankles.
Nah, they get me everywhere.
Yeah, I don't have that.
All the places. Yeah. But yeah, so just, little things like that. It's like you gotta work with what you got at the time while still trying to work in that direction to improve it as you can.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. No. Do you guys have a mini split in your?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know if you mentioned that. Yeah, I would say that makes a huge difference.
Man. Yeah, because like the first few weeks before we got that installed, we couldn't install it yet because we had so much shit in the garage that they couldn't get to where they needed to get for a while. And man, that's something I should do. Well, not right now because it looks like crap. Just a before and after of like how much stuff was in our garage after we moved into where it is.
Yeah, it was a 2-car garage.
Now.
Well, I mean, it is a 2-car garage.
Right.
But we didn't have any of these racks set up, just boxes. And the boxes were like all over the place.
Yeah, there was like barely a path. There wasn't even a path at one point.
Now the boxes weren't like to the ceiling, but
they were
like
only
chest,
like a couple
but it was
high.
like to your chest.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was
full.
Your desk wasn't even put together, and the chairs weren't here. And
yeah. And so then when we finally cleared enough room, well, one, it took getting the shed. We had to get the shed so that we could move the garage stuff, the actual, garage stuff out of the garage into the shed. And that cleared up a lot of space. And then, everything that goes in the garage was in boxes and was kind of like in your way of setting up the garage so that you can unpack it. But yeah, so then we hooked up the mini split. But before that, I had a couple orders that I needed to do before we had the mini split. Oh my goodness. It was so hot in here. Like it was miserable. I would work in here for like probably, I don't know, 30 minutes to an hour. And then I couldn't take it anymore because I was literally like drenching sweat, like, getting frustrated super easily because I'm hot and overheated. Yeah. So the mini split, I mean, it's like he said, I mean, it's almost colder than in our house half the time.
Yeah, it's amazing like how well they can work if it's,
Well, and then we needed electrical as well because of the laser. There was only, I think there's the house has a lot of outlets, unlike our last house. But I mean, there's only 2. There was only 2. Yeah. Set of 2 or just the 2?
So there were 4 plugs.
Okay.
But 2 outlets.
Yeah.
And they were both on. They are on the same wall. So it's like the house wall.
Further. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not ideal for because I mean we would have to run an extension cord to the other side to for the laser to vent out. But yeah. So now it's a good workshop.
Yeah.
For now.
Coming together for sure.
Yeah.
And the mini split, I mean, it wasn't cheap, but it wasn't like as expensive as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's worth it once you get over the sticker
tag.
shock.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sticker shock of it. And then like
you walk into coolness.
Right. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. This was a good investment.
Right. Well, and I mean, think about our last studio. We were never cold in there.
No.
Ever.
No,
like we weren't always like dying of but
heat. It was it was
always warm.
We had fans going and stuff.
We'd have to turn down the AC in the house a little bit so that it got a little cooler in there.
And even though the lights don't really generate that much heat,
it was enough
still
to feel it. Yeah. So do you have like what are some things that you have left to make like your workshop like set?
I mean, it's always changing based on what we're doing. I've got a CNC over in the corner over here. Well, yeah. So this is kind of that's got to go. That CNC.
The Thunder or the CNC?
No, Thunder stays. These are the other. So this is kind of the laser
Nice.
place, but I don't know. We bought the CNC first and never used it. So because the lasers kind of took over, so it's just kind of streamlining. So like we moved our plywood up into the upper garage, like the garage attached to the house.
Right.
So where's my thumb? So you could do like upright storage over there, but we took that. So like a lot of stuff we put up initially because our original flow, we actually took down and moved, or I got rid of a lot of lumber I had in here because we don't do that kind of stuff as much anymore. I'm probably going to change I'd like to get my compressor outside because it's really loud. Especially with, we'd like to do more content videos and stuff for socials or some lives maybe, but I can't run my laser without blowing people's eardrums out. So that I'd like to move out. I guess a lot of things keep changing in here. Yeah. But I mean, obviously our lasers are set. I just got the second Thunder. It was used. Someone literally right down my road was selling it for I had 8 hours of use on it, and for almost half the cost of a new one. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna sell my own tech and put this in. Yeah. But, so things like that, we'll do lateral moves if it's makes sense. But we'll probably redo some of I might put digital gauges in for the air assist so you can kind of control it a little bit more. Well, I'm sure we'll do a lot more. Dust collection. That's something I do not have set up currently. Because I have dust everywhere in here. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not great. But it's pretty well set up now. I mean, we did a lot last year, but that's why I had me and two guys, pretty much because I had to get it ready for the holidays. I had 3 months, and if we weren't up, that's half of my revenue for the year. And the holidays. So we really grinded it out, but things will keep changing. It's you got to keep figuring out your efficiencies or your bottlenecks, and kind of change as you go. So
they'll change too, because I mean, your business changes in ways that you can't necessarily predict either, because all of the things I'm doing right now were not in the plan. None of the course was not in the plan. The keychain thingies website was not in the plan. The podcast was not the plan. Working here was not the plan. None of that was the plan. And so when it happens, you kind of just got to run with it and go with it and see where it goes. And then if it's successful, then you're like, okay, now how do I mix this in with the flow that I got? What do I get rid of? What do I move in? So there's things that I need to get rid of as far as I have a lot of wood sign blanks, and the thought, there are a lot of the cheap, Hobby Lobby, I was going to say Home Depot, when Hobby Lobby discounts their seasonal signs at the end of the year, they drop them down to 75-85% off. So you get a $20 or $30 sign for $2, but they're usually the ones that didn't sell super well. And I was talking to him the other day. I was like, I don't know what to do with these. And he was like, why don't we just sell them off cheap and put whatever sign or wording on there. And I'm like, yeah, but then we have to paint or cover what's on there. And if it's raised at all, you're going to be able to see it. So then you might need to sand or tape off the frame because they're already made into frames. And I'm like, none of that sounds appealing to me at all, which is the whole reason that they've sat there for pretty much almost since I bought them. I've made a couple of them, but that's about it. So that's the kind of stuff that I need to get rid of because it may not be making space for something else, but just having that space so I'm not tripping over them as I just walk to my laser.
Or seeing out the corner of your eye.
Just not having the clutter and not having things take up your mental space and your physical space that aren't bringing you in any money.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's why, I mean, well, you know the laser. Well, you have the Laser Me This group, and then there's the Laser D Stash group.
Right.
But no, we sold we cutting boards never did well for us, you know. So we sold all the ones we bought, you know. Sold. I mean, that's why we were talking earlier. That's why I didn't get a rotary because I kind of did a reality check in January.
To a Pyburn.
And so it is when I see, especially on TikTok, I see all these people selling the engraved or mugs or what do you call it, tumblers.
Yeah.
I'm like, that'd be really nice. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's like we kind of realized, okay, this is what our business is now. We're kind of wooden ornaments is kind of our main thing. It's like, okay, if I try and be good at all these different things,
you're not gonna
be good at anything
from your breadwinner.
Yeah, it's like, okay, if I, so we got like 3 different kind of business things going on, and if I, say I spend a third on each one in a year, well, my competitor is going to be spending, if they have one business, 100% of the time on that, so they're going to get 3 times as far as me in a year.
Right.
So that's kind of the thought process I've been having of, okay, what are we really doing? Let's streamline it. The plywood falls underneath, okay, we already have it, I'm not going to bring in a bunch of other stuff, but we sell it, like standard line of stuff, but it's only because we get it for our ornaments, and it helps offset, buying bunks at a time, especially in slower seasons.
Were you the one that there was one fell like in your garage or your driveway, right? And then away.
Yeah, so that's a fun story. So I had a shop reach out to me from New Hampshire.
One of the news.
Yeah, there's east side somewhere over there.
Right.
And they had asked, because I do buy and sell stuff. That's how most of my machinery in here, other than the laser, one laser's new. Or 2, I buy and sell most of my machinery. I've been doing it since I got out of high school because it's so much easier or cheaper than I can't afford to just buy all new all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
But I will sometimes I bought a couple months back 250 sheets of maple plywood just to turn it around and sell it, out of my garage kind of thing. If you can get a good price locally. Well, this company had reached out in New Hampshire, and they had 1,000 sheets of plywood, and so it was at a pretty good price. And I'm using it a bit, but I took 800 of it, but I had to get it shipped to me. I have a shipping rep that I use, and he it shifted in the first shipment, so it had to go back to their warehouse, and then they weren't happy, and I was like, well, it's not my fault. You guys can't.
Right.
Well, it was actually the company before them.
Right.
Well, but then it finally got to us. Well, I live down a dirt road, and I have no way to get it off a truck. So I had it shipped to a friend of mine that's also in the laser groups, and she's like an hour and a half away. So we had it shipped 8 bunks, 210 sheets each, shipped to her shop.
Oh my God.
And she had the auto guy down the road has a forklift or something. Well, it turned out the way it was loaded into the semi, and the semi got there earlier too, so I wasn't there when it was unloading.
Of course.
But they had to, the auto guy pulled up his flatbed truck, and they had to pull it with a winch or something that you would a car wrecker. They pulled it from out of the semi truck onto the wrecker vehicle, and then they got the forklift to get it off. But one of them was so poorly banded that when the forklift had grabbed it, it started to tip, and then once all that weight shifted, because it's all pre-finished material, so it's very slick.
Yeah.
So as soon as it started to go, it's what are you gonna do?
Right. Watch and get out of the way. Yeah.
Pull out your phone and record content.
Right.
As I say, it made great content, but
oh no!
At that point, you're just what do you do?
Yeah.
It's at that point we just want to get the material. But yeah, that was that. But
Right.
I don't usually get 800 sheets at a time, but
Right.
it's kind of a one-time thing.
Yeah.
So,
So do you have any advice for any new or struggling laser owner? Was there like something, that you, and obviously, we mentioned several throughout the podcast as far as like getting your systems in place, but is there anything else that we didn't mention that it kind of helped you in the beginning? Or
I mean, like the laser groups. I mean, I've consumed so much content in those groups of reading everything, watching videos. I mean, that's how we learned how to run our machines and how to do everything. Tons of useful information. And then, I mean, definitely, especially since, obviously I sell materials, but since I've done that, I've tested a ton of materials and I've like learned that materials don't always, there's a purpose for different materials, and figure out what you need to do, like what your end goal is, and kind of get educated on why am I using this material? Am I using it because someone told me to, or like me as a seller, when I post like, oh, try this out, well, why do you want to use the material? Is my material actually gonna be good for you, or would some other supplier's material be good for you? There's different MDF core has purposes, so does Veneer Core. MDF has its purpose, Baltic birch. It really depends on what you do. So I'd say coming from that end, we use specific materials for specific things. So, figure out the differences, if you need speed or more of, painting or whatever. And test. I mean,
I hate doing it, but every time I do it, I'm like, oh, okay, you just saved yourself like a lot of time and aggravation. Because you think in the moment, you're like, I don't have time for that, or I don't want to waste the materials or whatever, right? But then what you end up doing is you go and you do it anyway, and then you waste the materials because the settings are more material, because the settings aren't optimal, or it didn't cut through all the way and you didn't notice before you moved it, and whatever. So testing, it really does. I can't even get through testing pays off for sure. So it's one of my goals, like for this year, next year, whatever, is just when I have a new material or something like that, is to really I want to do it with my acrylic now, because I know my settings work, but they're not as good as they can be, because I have a lot of that chatter or kind of zippering on the edge of my acrylic, and 90% of my customers, of the few customers I have with the physical products, they're never going to notice that. But it does bother me, because I know it can be better, but I keep putting it off because testing. So, and it's time to do it, because I want my products, I'm such a perfectionist, and I'm so this needs to be perfect and all that. But then it's like, why am I skipping that part?
Oh no, for sure. I think the person who really kind of, at least with different laser settings and whatnot. So last year I was looking at Trotex and epilogues, just because they're a lot faster engraving and whatnot. But I was talking to JB Manning on Messenger.
He's great.
Yeah. But he when we were talking, because I'd sent in time trials to epilogue and Trotec to see if it was faster than what I needed to do on my dual head machine. But he was telling me all about the different settings or things he'd tweak or whatnot. And I was just amazed, I thought I tested different things, but he was just telling me the little tiny differences he'd make. He's like, that you'd actually think this would make it quicker, in a process, but it's actually, it wouldn't, or different ways even in Lightburn or whatever, I guess that's Corel or Ruby is what Trotec runs on. But just little, especially in the software, that's another thing. Learn the software. There's so many efficiencies in Lightburn that you can,
the array tool. That thing is great. And the remove overlapping lines feature. I've barely touched the surface of Lightburn and what it can help in efficiencies.
Are you going to the conference?
I'm not. No. If it wasn't literally the days before Halloween, I probably would, but it's just it's difficult. I want to go though, so maybe next year, or maybe magically then if we can or have the help. But
Right.
I mean, there's not a lot of things that we can go to, with the kids. It either means like we go by ourselves, and then that's not always fun for me. And just we don't, everything's kind of up in the air this year, just with with getting him settled in a new self-employment job, and then me getting settled again after kind of taking a couple months,
a little hiatus.
So I are you going? I know a lot of people are going.
Yeah, but it's like a few hours from me, so it's kind of cheating.
See, that's perfect. And for me, I don't know, I know it would be probably at least 2 flights, and not exactly like, definitely not one ways and all of that. So I'm jealous of those who are going though, because a lot of my laser friends are going. He's speaking at it.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure that's been announced. Hopefully.
I haven't seen it yet. I follow the Lightburn page, so that might get edited out.
Right. But I think
it'll be bleeped out.
There's a couple friends who are doing stuff there.
Announcements coming soon.
Right. So where can people find you?
I mean, Creative Cut Supplies is like the material shop. We have a website. I think we also have a Facebook page. TikTok would be Woodlander Workshop. I think we're also, I think, on the other socials as well.
Right, all the socials,
Yeah, my wife does most of that.
Yeah, it was funny. I was asking him about I was like, did you post the TikTok about your workshop? And he was like, I don't know. My wife does all that.
Your media manager.
Right. And I was like, I said, it was about a year ago. He's like, yeah, we did move in here about a year ago. So I was like, so I think it was you guys.
Yeah.
I can't wait until you're the can I pass
media
you
manager?
all that shit? Oh, I hate social media. I hate content creation. I don't mind posting so much, but content creation is rough. So yeah.
There's a lot of I don't really use them yet, but like AI tools, I've heard there's a lot of things I haven't figured it out yet, but
a lot of, so I follow several content creator influencers and they use a lot of AI or Chat GPT to help them with captions or with with ideas and that kind of stuff. So there's definitely the tools out there, but I gotta go learn those first. So before we kick you off, I just wanted to thank you again for super last minute. I literally messaged him and I think I asked him, did I ask you if you were available that night or the next night?
It was last night. Yeah, you asked me if I was available last night.
Yeah. So there was very little notice, less than 48 hours. And then, you were on my list of people to contact at some point anyway. And I was like, let's see if he's available.
Why wait?
Right. So thank you for saving us that we didn't have to figure out what the heck we were going to talk about again alone for an hour. I'm pretty sure our listeners appreciate it too. I mean, I think they love us, but
but only
there's
so
only
much.
so much talking we can do about ourselves. So thank you again.
Yes. Thanks for spending an hour with us and talking with us.
Right. And being a patron.
Yes.
Again, we appreciate it.
Appreciate all our patrons.
Yeah.
And stay tuned for our life update coming up. And we're back. I powered through that. I don't know how. I don't know.
I looked at you a couple times and your eyes were half open, and I was like, "Is he?"
Yeah,
is he there?
And it's not David's fault. It was
not at all.
Great.
Yeah.
It's just, man, it's hard.
Yeah, and every time you would yawn, talking about yawning.
See, it's just like getting, like we talked about it. We're trying to get everything settled, so it's long nights and then early mornings, and then it's Jackson doesn't have daycare, so there's no sleeping in at all because he's wide awake at 7.
7:30.
Lately it's been JR and him wake up at the same time around 7.
Right.
So I go to drop him off at camp
Yeah.
and come home and Jackson's up. So it's
Mhm.
like there's no sneaking in 15, 20 minutes or anything like that. And then nap time is our only free time
Right.
to like actually get to work without, together without
Yeah.
one, like
Having to switch
having
off
to watch
or,
and
yeah.
then I'm gonna do this and this
Right.
and that. Yeah. So yeah, it's been hard, but we hopefully soon.
Yeah.
August 14th, right?
Yes.
It's the date.
It's just a couple weeks
We
away.
just gotta power through it, August
literally.
14th, and then he'll be
Yeah.
in daycare and
Limp along until then.
Yep, and then JR will be in
I'll
first
probably
first
cry
grade. We'll have
again
a
because
first grader.
I know.
6 and 2.
That's insane.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
So years go by.
Yeah.
And then they just keep getting older.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, we had during the pre-show talking to David, we were like, "Oh, how long have we been doing this?" And I was pregnant with Jackson,
Right.
so it's been like 2.5 years since we've been doing this, and that's crazy.
121 episodes now.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Right.
Look at us now.
It's yeah.
With a plain light wall that we haven't fucking finished yet.
And secret time. There's our panels are right behind her.
Mm-hmm.
For the new
I
wall.
moved some of them down so you can't see it. Give it away.
Yeah, then there's some other stuff there that's gonna go on the wall that we're not talking about. But yeah.
We mapped it out.
Yep.
And I'm excited to actually get it up.
Yeah.
I don't know when that's gonna happen. We'll just see. Maybe next week, maybe not until daycare starts.
Don't know. We have a lot. This is a busy weekend.
Anything that's accomplished in between now and like daycare is pretty much like a bonus. Yeah. So
it feels, and I will say it feels weird because like there's a marketing course I want to take. Yeah. And I want to get to work on my drone pilot license and stuff. And it's like I feel like all that's on hold, but I also feel like it's an excuse. Right. So it's kind of that
you're like guilty. You feel guilty that you haven't like started on things, but then like you also there's only so much time in the day and
it's not even guilt. It's more like antsy.
Yeah,
and like
for sure.
and anxious to start because it's like, okay, well, I'm just sitting
because like
here.
I mean our money is good, but like our savings, because we don't have a ton coming in right now, it's going fast. Than like you'd hope. And so it's like you like you want to fix it now, but there's only so much that we can do. So it's like kind of like trying to a little bit of both, trying to be in the moment, but then also like, okay, but I also need to make a plan for this, and then like we talked the other day about planning a day that we could sleep in.
August 14th.
But like a day of the week. I was like, oh, like Mondays we could like sleep in a little bit.
Oh, like as part of our routine.
Right. Yeah. Because like I'm like, we have to be careful because us, we can sleep. Yeah. So we have a lot of sleep that we need to make up for as being parents. Man. So we're like, oh, Mondays are always rough.
Can't wait to be an empty nester.
Right. I just can't wait until they're old enough to like go feed themselves without them like without worrying about.
Just don't burn down the house.
Right. Exactly. Don't cook anything. Just cereal, leave us alone. Yogurt. I don't know, some kind of like simple breakfast.
We'll make a little like a speakeasy slider. It's like do not disturb.
Right. Yeah. And then the craziness of all of the birthdays. I mean, we haven't done anything crazy yet. That's coming this weekend. Yeah.
But I mean, like we cut a cake for Jackson.
Jackson on the 8th. Yeah. And then you were on the 11th. And then JR was on the 20th. And then their birthday party is this weekend. And I had to try really hard not to like go ham on stuff, and I knew that like I just didn't have it in me to like do stuff. So I tried not to go overboard too on even like the decor, which is hard for me because like the picture and all that stuff, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna look sad and like whatever, but I had to like let it go because like your guests don't really care, your kids don't really care,
and everyone knows like what we're doing right now, so it's
and
like,
there's too much going on. So instead of like overwhelming myself with a bunch of stuff that doesn't necessarily matter, I'm like trying to like just let it go, and just I really want to get the house like as as set up as I can for, the people who are coming to see it for the first time.
Right.
So
right. Well, yeah, because it's not only the birthday; it's also kind of like a housewarming.
It's 3 birthdays and a housewarming.
Yeah.
It's not crazy at all.
Not even a little bit.
But yeah, thankfully it's not too many people.
Right.
Fortunately and unfortunately,
That
there's a lot
2-hour
of people who couldn't make it. Right, it weeds out. So I'm just kidding. But it's kind of nice that it's not big, because then I also don't have that like the anxiety of so many people, showing up and entertaining people, making sure there's enough food, treats,
and then cleaning up after.
Oh, right. Yeah. So that's what we've been doing, and that's why I hit up David literally like the day before. I was like, hey, by chance, are you available tomorrow? And he wasn't, because they were celebrating their anniversary. I forgot to tell him happy anniversary again.
Happy anniversary.
But he thankfully, came through for us tonight, but then the podcast is due tomorrow. So
it's a late night for me.
Yeah. And then our house somehow just even looks even worse than it has.
No, it doesn't look worse. There's
just a lot of stuff that's got to be put away.
Yeah. I mean, so this week we
like when you're organizing and you're putting stuff away, like it just gets worse.
You gotta take everything
that's
out.
what it is right now.
Yeah. So we're working on our room. So all the clothes was like washed and it's all folded on the table.
Right. Yeah.
And behind the couch. And then some Amazon boxes came, and all the boxes we cleared out got filled with Amazon boxes.
Right. And then on top of that, we've also been dealing with your grandma's estate and trying to get everything set up for probate. And we had like an attorney meeting, and we've had like paperwork we need to do.
But on the plus side, my mom has been able to drive up.
Yes.
I mean, I think last weekend was the only
weekend she hasn't come up, which she's coming up tomorrow. Amazing.
Right. She's coming up tomorrow. And and just to see her, having, kind of, it's sad to see.
It's bittersweet for sure.
Yeah, because it's like the price you pay for it, but to see her with the boys more often, and to see her like kind of not have a worry of.
I need to record it and like post it in the group. Jackson with his Nino.
Oh
Nino.
Yeah.
Nino. Nino. Like he'll yell, he'll scream it,
and
until he gets like the attention he wants
after she leaves.
Yes, and then after she leaves, he'll be like yelling it, like waiting for her to like come around the corner, come out of the bathroom. So like those moments are like it's, and then tomorrow she gets to spend the day with us. For JR's birthday, I wanted to give him something separate for his birthday, not just a group party,
right? And especially since we didn't cut a cake today,
right?
Because I mean, there's only so much cake you can eat, and we're probably gonna eat cake tomorrow.
We did give him a mini cupcake, and he had a mini cupcake at school, so he got treats. So don't feel bad for him.
But like we didn't do the cake, and I mean, we sang happy birthday to him.
We did,
but So we're going skating tomorrow.
Yeah. And he's been asking to go since he went through summer camp. And I'm really, really thankful for summer camp, because he just got to do stuff besides sit in the house and play games or watch TV. I mean, or
we've been busy unpacking and getting everything settled that we wouldn't have had time to.
And he's gone to like the farm and splash pads, and he's gone to the movies. I don't know how many times.
Every week. Once a week they go to the movies.
And so and he has like friends, and it was so funny. Today I told you how he was like, oh, tomorrow I have to bring my swimsuit and lunch. And he was like, I was like, oh, we're going to keep you home tomorrow for your birthday. He was like, no, I want to go tomorrow. Right. And I was like, okay, but we were going to go skating. He was like, oh no, okay, I'll stay home tomorrow. I'll stay home, because one of the first field trips he went on was the skate factory. And he's been asking to go to the skate factory again.
And I don't think he knows how to
skate. He insists he does.
Right. We'll see tomorrow.
He was showing me how to skate in the. I think
that might be because he really likes to learn new things.
He does.
So I think he started to get a hang of it and probably had to leave, because I mean it takes when you go from zero. So he was probably getting the hang of it, and they're like, okay, time to leave. So he probably want to go back to practice his what
I'm
he
interested
knows.
To see how.
So I want to see him, and he's like, "Daddy, are you gonna skate?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm skating." You asked me, you're like, "Are you gonna skate?" I'm like, "Of course, we're going to the skate park."
These knees, I tried. I don't know how many years ago, and it was not. It was not.
Yeah, in Colorado, right?
Was
before
it
the boys?
Yeah.
When we went to Skate City.
Was that with you? I didn't remember when.
I mean, I went-
remembered
I
was
went
that my
once.
knees didn't do well.
Yeah.
I don't remember falling, but I held onto the wall, I'm pretty sure, the whole time. And I remember being sore AF for like a week after that. And I'm like, let me not. I would love to get to the point where I can do it like without pain. But I'm not there yet.
I mean, I think my prediction for tomorrow is I'll be doing it without pain tomorrow.
Right.
And
it'll
I'll
just
get,
come
and
later.
I will be out of breath a lot quicker
JR
than I thought.
is sure that you're gonna fall.
He sure, well, because he wants to hold on to me. He's like, "Are you gonna hold my hand?" I'm like, "No, because you're gonna make us both fall." So I mean, as long as he doesn't make me fall, I won't fall.
He doesn't think so. He thinks he's not gonna fall, and he thinks you are. And I was like, "Well, that's not nice." And he was like, "But Daddy doesn't know how to skate that well."
And then we got him Mario World. He's the worst person to play video games with.
Oh my God! First of all, he's very not humble.
No, not at all.
And I don't know how to teach.
Yeah,
I need to figure out how to teach that.
He's like, I'm so good at this game.
He's like, I'm so good at this.
Yeah, because you sent me to kill all the people and I get killed.
Right, and then you get all the
and then you get all the prizes. He took all of them.
Babe. So I hear them. I didn't want to play, so I'm like sitting there getting like pictures like printed and ready for the picture wall that I'm gonna do, and they're over there like bickering back and forth about like how they're playing, and so then
one player.
I started watching, and JR was yelling at you to like climb up something or to grab something. He's like, you need to like scratch it or something.
Oh yeah.
Well, then,
I wish it was on purpose.
Oh my God. I also wish it was on camera because I died. So JR's telling him, do this, right?
Hit the Y button.
Hit the Y button. So John walks over and hits the Y button, and the Y button picks up JR in the game and throws him literally off the cliff. And JR was so mad.
He was so mad.
And I was trying so hard not to I wanted to like
I was like, see, that's karma, because you told me to come do this.
Right?
And I come do it.
And I did
it throws you off the cliff. And then you get mad at me. I'm like, that's what you get. And it felt pretty good. And see him pick up his character and throw him off the cliff. I'm like, that's what you get.
It's like what you want to do to your kids, but you legally are not allowed to do.
Listen, I was on the verge of just all right, let's end this game and you play one player because you can't play two players.
Right. Yeah. So I was like, I had to hide like my face and like laugh as quiet as I possibly could, but it was so funny because I knew that like it was just perfect timing after you two had been bickering about playing.
Oh.
But yeah, where were we going with that? That he's not a good like. Video game player.
He's the worst
and he's a sore loser.
I mean,
too,
he just started playing video games.
True. I hate losing too, but he really hates.
But we weren't losing.
No, but I mean, like when we play Mario Kart.
He doesn't like it.
This is one tradition that I do like. We started playing Mario Kart after Jackson goes to bed, and it's awesome too because then we get that extra like one-on-one time with him.
Right.
And we started playing a Mario Kart together before he goes to bed. But there's some days like where, and it happens to all of us.
Yeah,
like I'm usually first, super humble over here as well. Which listen, I grew up literally on Mario Kart. Like me, my mom, my sister, and my stepdad, we would play like all day or all night. Like we would play a lot, like when we would have like a tournament and be like, and we play for hours and hours. And so like I loved like Mario Kart's my jam. And so when we play it, like, I've been playing it and, kind of like muscle memory, like comes back to you.
Yeah.
And so often like, you and I are like, we're battling over like first.
Right.
Well, wrong kid. JR, is usually like a couple behind us. And then every once in a while he has a bad game and he's like way far back. But that happens to us too. And we know how to play.
Especially the levels that allow you to fall off of the track.
Yeah. And it's like
you'll fall off, that little turtle thing fishes you out.
Yeah. You'll fall off the edge. And then you finally get, my favorite part is when you fall off the edge, you finally get back on land and then something hits you. And you're like, oh, great. Because I was already
I hate the part that is like the hang glider part. And then like you're not even at the end and the guy already coming like, I'm in the air with my hang glider.
Right? Like you can't wait until you hit the
how did I
ground.
fall off the track? You're supposed. This is the part where you fall off the track.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know where we were going with that, but it's been
life update.
Yeah, it's been good times playing the games, but then also like, all right, and it's like, you know, we almost we're like, there's times when we're like, okay, maybe we don't want to play anymore because you're making this not fun.
Yeah.
But it's
especially
all in
when
just,
he loses.
Yeah, it's all in just trying to teach him how to play and how to lose and still have fun. And
I keep telling him it's just a video game.
Right. Yeah, we don't want the kid who like smashes TVs and that kind of stuff.
Oh no, because I'll smash him.
Right.
You get a new kid and a new TV.
What else? I think there was something else that we were gonna update, but now I can't remember.
Yeah, don't know.
I don't know. I think that's most of it. There's just
if there's more, we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for bearing with us, honestly. Just
thanks for
we're probably not like our tip top content that we always strive to do. We're literally just doing the best we can at this point, and
just
we hope
you a show every week.
We hope that that's enough, and we thank you for listening, especially those who are up to date.
Yes.
And if you're up to date, but this was like a few months ago, keep going. It's going to get better. I promise. It has to. It's not, I don't think it's terrible, but it's not what I would want it to be.
It's because the rest of everything's in chaos. So it feels like this is.
Yeah.
Because we don't have our regular rhythm.
This is in chaos too. We're recording literally the night before it comes out in the morning.
Right.
So yeah. But yeah, I think that's it.
Yep.
And we appreciate you guys. Those of you who have been letting it run in the background, muted or unmuted, please keep doing it. The watch hours are climbing. They're definitely going up faster. So
we're at 9:31.
Are we at 9:31?
Yeah, last time I checked, earlier today, we were at 9:31.
We hit 9:30 and then we dropped down to 9:28.
9:31.
And then I saw that we did get back up to 9:30. Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
So subscribe.
Yeah, and we're almost up to 1,500 watch hours. We need to get to 3,000.
Yep.
So keep getting us there.
Think about signing up for Patreon. That helps too.
Yes. All the things.
All the things. And it's been another great episode of the Rise of the Bug Project. Crystal and John.
Bye.
Maybe we're all done.